You were born in 1925, in Nanjing, China's capital, long before anyone calls it fragile. Your earliest memories are gentle. You watching your mother cooking foods for you and your family in earthen pots. Something about these pots just feels very warm for you. Voices drifting from the Qinhuai River, merchants calling prices into the air. Lantern light trembling across the water after sunset. The city feels vast but protective, like it will always be there. As a child, history does not exist yet, and the only world you have seen is your city, the people around you, and the family you have. You don't know what politics look like. Your worries are small, empty stomachs, unfinished games, the hope that evening will stretch a little longer before you are called inside. Your father makes his living at a market stall, selling bolts of cloth and reasonable charms to customers. When he returns home, his palms are rough and stained, carrying the scent of dust and dye. Some nights, he presses a tiny gift into your Honda strip of ribbon, a sugar sweet, something meant to make you smile. That is the best part of your day when all day long you wait for your father to arrive. Your mother sews beside the window, needle flashing in steady rhythm. She shows you how to fold fabric cleanly, how to knot thread so it holds. She believes order can be stitched into a life, one careful seam at a time. Your family is not just your parents, you have two brothers too. Wen, the eldest who learns calligraphy at school. He walks ahead of you through the streets, tracing characters in the air as if the world itself were his page. The youngest, Liang, is still small enough to sleep curled against your mother, his breath warm and even against her arm. At night, all five of you gather on the floor to eat. The food is modest. The room is quiet except for soft laughter. Everything feels balanced. Everything feels as it should be. By the time you are 6, you learn to help your mother with home chores. You help your mother wash laundry in the river. She shows you how to rub fabric against stone until it is clean. You complain. She smiles. Strong hands, she says. You will need them. Nanjing wraps itself around this life. The streets know your footsteps. The vendors know your face. You know which alleys smell like tea and which smell like fish. The city feels familiar. Nothing ever feels urgent. When you are 8, you start school. You practice characters on worn paper. You memorize poems you don't fully understand yet. Your teacher tells you Nanjing is an important city, a capital city. You don't really know what that means. It just feels like home. Sometimes strangers pass through the city. They look tired, thin. They carry their lives in cloth bundles. Adults lower their voices when they see them. Conversations stop when you enter the room. No one explains. So you forget. Because it doesn't matter to you, really. Childhood teaches you how to ignore what does not touch you yet. Every now and then, one of your uncles visit from the countryside once in a while. After a few cups of rice wine, they mutter about the last war, about Japan, about something called Manchuria. One of them laughs and says not to trust the Japanese. Everyone joins in. You don't understand why, but you also never questioned why is it so. To you, the world is as small as your street and as safe as your father's hand when he walks you home. Every day, you wake early to sweep the floor. Wen walks to school with more confidence now. Liang refuses to let go of your mother's sleeve. You complain about chores, about noise, about fairness. By the time you are 10, small rules begin to appear. You are told not to stay out after sunset, not to wander too far from home, not to talk to strangers even if they seem kind. No one explains why. And by the time you are 11, your environment starts to feel different, and you feel a sort of terror spreading among people like some sort of disease. You notice that people stop laughing in the streets. They wouldn't keep conversations for too long. Whenever you see elders of your city sitting together, you hear them talking about some sort of danger spoken with urgency and fear, which you don't know the meaning of and never even bothered to know. Gradually after, sometimes, you hear grown-ups whisper that fighting has begun up north, in Shanghai, and the Japanese are coming towards the city. But you also hear news of Nanjing being safe, and that all of this is just rumors. You notice that your father doesn't go out often, and doesn't even sit on his stall like he usually does. All of this just doesn't add up to you. The stall stays open, but he doesn't. You start noticing other small changes. The market is not as lively as before. Some stalls are empty. Some vendors speak in hushed voices, their eyes flicking to the road every few seconds. Wen notices too. He stops lingering in the streets after school, walking home faster and shoulders tense. Little Liang clings to your mother a little longer each day, sensing something even you can't name. By mid-morning, your school routine begins to shift. Classes start later. Sometimes they end early. Sometimes they don't start at all. Teachers explain nothing. You follow orders without understanding why. Your friends whisper rumors that roads are closing, soldiers passing through, neighbors leaving. But everyone shrugs them off, pretending nothing has changed. The streets around your neighborhood begin to feel different. Barricades appear where children used to play. Sandbags stack along familiar paths. New soldiers patrol corners that were once safe. Roads that connected you to the neighboring city feel suddenly distant. People speak carefully, as if speaking too loudly might make the walls crumble. By the time your eldest brother Wen is 17, the whispers grow louder. One morning, you hear words you have never heard before surrender. Later that day, Wen announces he is volunteering. Your mother gasps. She grabs his sleeve, pleading to not go. You, in a small voice and desperate, "Don't go," you whisper. "Please, don't leave us." He comes to your room, kneels in front of you, taking your hands gently, and says, "Someone has to fight," he says. His eyes are steady, though you notice a flicker of fear he does not show. That night, before he leaves, he pulls you aside. "Take care of little Lang," he says softly. "He is only 5. You nod, trying to swallow the lump in your throat. The very next morning, you see your brother leaving, carrying rifles. After he leaves, the city begins to shift in ways you cannot ignore. You see drastic changes which you never saw in your life before this time. And suddenly, there is a chaos in the city. Shops start to close early. Streets feel narrower, quieter. The laughter that once echoed through corners is gone. Your school shuts its gates temporarily, but it never reopens. You wait to go back to a normal life, where you woke up early in the morning, excited to see your friends, and learn new things at school. The rhythm of life you knew has started to unravel, and you begin to understand that nothing will ever feel safe again. From this time, every night, you would hear the horror of explosions from afar that would make your windows shiver. Slowly, these strange things became your normal. You don't not step out from your house for days. Your parents living in a hyper-alert mode at all times, as if a danger is lingering around you to get you at any time. This all continued till months. And now it is December 1937, the time when your life is about to turn upside down. The city refuses to admit it is dying. Streets are quieter, but the lanterns glow. Shops open their doors, and children sneak out to play, trying to bring back a sense of normal. The Christmas time is around the corner. Even in this quiet, you notice a few Christmas decorations in shop windows, paper stars, tinsel, a small tree in one corner. You exchange some wooden gifts with your little brother and tell him that the next year, this time around when all of this goes back to normal, we will do the celebrations like how we always had celebrated. For a moment, it feels like life might continue, like the world has not completely broken. But the very next morning, that illusion shatters. The sirens wail, loud and piercing, echoing through streets you once ran along without fear. Voices shout, and somewhere close, people are crying. You hear soldiers moving rapidly down familiar alleys. The city is no longer holding its breath, it is screaming. They have broken through. They are here. By afternoon, the Japanese finally enter the city. Not all at once, not with the clarity you might expect. They slip in through streets, you know, passing houses, markets, and the river where you used to play. Soldiers march where children once ran, rifles in hand, boots crushing stone paths that seemed permanent just months ago. Announcements claim that civilians will not be harmed. Some people cling to this promise, hoping against reason. By nightfall, it is clear hope was a lie. Fires climb buildings, smoke chokes the sky, and the city smells of ash and fear. You hear distant explosions, but it feels close enough to shake the floor beneath your feet. Your father drags you and little Ling to the back of the house, hiding you in the storage room. He tells you to stay completely still. Your mother presses you against her chest, whispering for you to be brave, though her hands tremble in your hair. Then, there is the pounding on the door, which is heavy, repeated, and violent. Your father hisses for you to stay quiet. The door breaks open. Soldiers flood into the house. You hear your mother cry out once, then silence. You saw them dragging your mother to the side, and you feel completely hopeless. Your whole body is shivering at this sight. You want to go out to save your parents, but you are scared of what they will do to your brother. Your father tries to say something, but his voice is cut short. You hold your breath, frozen. The sounds of your family end before you can even comprehend it. The next day you come out of the place your father hid you and your brother. In the hope of searching something for food, you leave the house, disguised as a boy. Your hair is hidden, your clothes oversized, your head bent low. The streets that once felt familiar now seem alien, filled with smoke and shadows. Nanjing is gone. Only a graveyard remains. Bodies line the roads. People you recognized lie where they fell. The river carries the remnants of lives you cannot save. You move quickly, eyes fixed on survival. The horrors you see in the streets was unimaginable. Never in your life have you ever seen such horrors before. You see familiar faces, but as you went near to them, they were not alive and not even in their full body form. You run and search food, trying to keep yourself together, after all that you have seen in front of your eyes. Finally, after searching through broken shops, you find food. Barely enough, but it is sustenance. You clutch it tightly and make your way back home, thinking only of little Leng and the hope that you can feed him. When you enter, your heart stops. Soldiers are inside your home. Your little brother lies on the floor, wrapped in blood. You scream. You rush toward him, striking anything you can reach. One of them hits you hard, and you fell on the floor. Your world tilts. You are grabbed and dragged outside your house. You fight, but the strength of fear and violence overpowers you. What happens next is unspeakable. They drag you into a dark room and do the unexplainable things to you. You survive, but your body and spirit are forced into submission. They chain you inside your own house, stripping away the life you knew. Days stretch endlessly. Sometimes one soldier comes at night, sometimes two, and continue to torture your body in unimaginable ways. Every night, you survive. Although that is not what you want now, you learn quickly that nothing is predictable, nothing is safe. And then one day, they drag you to the Qinhuai River. Cold water hits you like a shock, pulling everything away at once. The world becomes silence and cold. You are tossed into the river, swallowed by currents that seem as endless as the suffering that has come before. From this moment, life is no longer life. Every day, every night, is survival. You remember a city that once felt permanent, a family that once kept you safe, and a world that once seemed alive, but now it is gone. You wake up after the river tosses you onto the muddy bank. Your clothes are torn. Your body aches in ways you didn't know were possible. Your hands and legs tremble, and for a moment, you wonder if you will ever move again. Around you, strangers move quietly. You find yourself at a new place. Foreigners with armbands pull others from the water. They speak a language you don't understand, but their gestures are kind. One reaches out, helping you to your feet, guiding you toward a building with high walls, Ginling College. They say it is a safe place. Inside, you are attended to. Food is brought. Clothes are replaced. Hands that do not shake guide you. For the first time in weeks, someone speaks softly, without fear, without rage. One day, the woman that was taking care of you here all this time approaches you. At first, her words make no sense to you, but her voice is calm, steady, and somehow comforting. She promises that here, the Japanese cannot get to you. Her hands move lightly through your hair. She asks you to speak, to narrate everything that has happened since December 1937. You tell her everything: your world ending, your family lost, the streets of Nanjing turned to graves. Your voice shakes, then grows loud. Anger bubbles through your words. She listens. She nods. She does not interrupt. You are not alone in Ginling College. Other survivors move quietly through the halls, whispering among themselves. The woman and her partner, a doctor, look after all of you. Each day is a careful rhythm of care, rest, and quiet. The woman in the safe zone named you Sui Lan and asks you to share everything that happened, listening closely as you speak. You must tell it all, she says, so the world will know what really happened. She tells you that justice must be served, and maybe your voice could become the way we can tell truth to the world. But after all that you have survived and saw from your eyes, you no longer believe in the word justice. Days pass here in the safety zone, but even here in safety, the world does not stop reaching you. At night, you hear rumors drifting through the camp about what is still happening beyond the walls. The screams of people lost filter through the cracks, carrying fear that cannot be contained. You huddle, listening, holding on to the small warmth of the safe zone. Then, one day, strangers arrive at the gates. The Japanese inspectors. The missionaries try to keep them outside. You hear their voices, the clatter of boots, the tension in the air. Every night now, patrols circle the camp, claiming to search for spies. Even when the missionaries tell them there are no spies inside, they would not listen and urge to enter inside. To protect you and the other women, the doctor lady hides them in the basement. You pull a cap low over your face, trying to hide who you are. Some nights you curl up beneath a table, hoping no one will notice. Sometimes it works. Most nights, it does not. Then, one night, it fails completely. You hear a sharp voice piercing the silence. Before you can plan your move, they barge inside. Their eyes lock on you. Recognition flashes, and your chest tightens. Memories hit like a wave. Every scream, every loss, every horror from December floods your mind at once. They grab you. There is no time to think. You try to run, but it is too late. They drag you toward the same river that weeks ago had briefly spared you. A river that once offered hope. Blows rain down. You fall to the ground, are lifted, then slammed again. Your body struggles, but resistance is meaningless. One of them raises a weapon. A sharp strike lands, and the cold river swallows you. The cold water carries you away past the streets that once were full of life, and past the places that held laughter, past every corner of the city, now turned to graves. The river flows over the city, carrying you to where all of Nanjing's dead lie, silent and unclaimed. There you take your last breaths. Inside the safety of Ginling College, Minnie Vautrin records your name for the last time. She hesitates before moving on. The next page stays empty. There are already more names than she can count. Too many stories that all end the same way. When the fighting stops, what remains is not a city, it is residue. Walls stand without rooms. Streets lead nowhere. The river moves again, calm and obedient, carrying no sign of what it carried before. Silence settles in places where noise once never stopped. Those responsible do not stay to look. They destroy papers. They burn uniforms. They remove proof with shaking efficiency. They believe time will finish the rest. But some things refuse to disappear. Your story does not stay buried in Nanjing. It crosses borders. It reaches desks, courtrooms, foreign tongues that struggle to pronounce your name. It explains what numbers cannot. How an entire city was dismantled in weeks. How more than 200,000 lives were ended with intent. Years later, officials speak carefully. Trials are held. Charges are read. Punishments are delivered. But justice is procedural. Loss is permanent. Nothing walks back through your door. No one calls your name again. The life you are growing into remains unfinished. Somewhere else, children wake up for school. Mothers cook breakfast. Fathers complain about work. No one smells the smoke from Nanjing anymore. No one hears the river. And that is how it truly ends, not with justice, but with forgetting.